Ever wanted to know what happens when you mix zero budget, apes, and Slavjank into one beautiful mess of a game? What's that? You don't? Well, thank goodness, because we have Dark Apes, the fate of devolution, to answer that question. This game is pretty obscure, and trying to find any information about it has been a bit difficult. What I do know is that it was released sometime in 2005 and developed by a German company called Wolf Group. I managed to find only 2 other games developed by these people, both of which being first-person shooters like this one. The first being Dracula, The Days of Gore, and the other being Dark Vampires, The Shadows of Dust, both released in 2006. Other than that, I couldn't find any information on when they were established or when they closed down. The publisher, Inca Gold, does have more history to it, thankfully. It was first established in 1999 and was exclusively a budget games publisher, the kind of stuff you'd see on shelves in the early 2000s. We have games like Carjacker, which looks to be some kind of low-budget GTA knockoff, Mafia Contract Killer Anti-Killer, which is apparently based on a movie from Russia, and other pretty unremarkable titles like War Chest, Thoroughbred Tycoon, and Ardennes Offensive. Inca Gold seemed to have closed up shop in 2009 when founder Richard M. Holmes resigned as CEO. Now, before we go bananas with this game, I think we should take a look at the back of the box, because I feel like we should have some context as to what's going on. A huge storm has driven the expedition of Honorable Professor Dr. Fleming far off course, to a chain of islands off the Sumatran coast. The members of the research team are really grateful that they've escaped death in the storm-tossed ocean, but they're also so happy to be the first humans to set foot on this island of jungle paradise. Yes, they seriously put 3 O's in so. Oh boy. Hold it! Did we say paradise? Wrong! Something very old and very evil has this island under its awful spell. Pandora's box will be opened, and wailing and lamentation from 1,000 tortured souls will flow insidiously around the world. But it's too late for prayers. Humanity is slowly being pulled towards the cradle of horror. Humans will mutate into ancient evil beings, and a massive bloodlust arises within human civilization. John Perkins stands alone against overwhelming foes in a futile-seeming battle. Wow, out of all the backstories I've read, that is most definitely one of them. And I am very sorry to burst some bubbles, but this game is not nearly as exciting as what this story makes it out to be. But look at these features, you might say. Atmospheric 3D shooter. Yeah, System Shock 2, this ain't. Powerful 3D engine and graphics. No. 8 levels. Not true. There's only 4. 2 difficulty levels. I will give them that. There are indeed 2 difficulty settings. Realistic ape models. Free choice of weapons. We'll get to that. Huge cinematic soundtrack. Anyways, let's begin. We start off with our main character waking up in the hospital after apparently being attacked by some animal and apparently has some kind of virus in them. I like the Max Payne style cutscenes here. All of a sudden, the doctor starts screaming that people are changing, and then the game starts. Yep, we got ourselves a gem here, folks. The graphics look like something that's late PS1 or early PS2. There's some really bizarre scaling issues, like these drawers here. Seriously, they look like they're about 3 inches tall. Oh, and apparently this hospital has some unimaginably bad security because we managed to smuggle in a gun. 4 of them, actually. The goal in each level is to find 10 crystals, then find a crystal pillar to leave. What are these crystals, and why are you looking for them in the first place? Who knows? Who cares? Let's move on. The enemies are not all that difficult to fight in and of themselves, since their AI basically consists of run in a straight line at the player, and they can very easily get stuck on walls. But what can make things hard is the absolute lack of feedback. There is no indication of where you're getting hit from, so you're always having to look behind you for enemies, and their grunts and groans always sound like they're right in front of you, even if they're like hundreds of feet away. It also doesn't help that your running speed is incredibly slow, and it actually gets slower when you take a hit, making getting around much harder than necessary. Oh, and if you manage to get cornered by a group of enemies, yeah, you're fucked. In this hospital, with tons of repeated rooms and more questionably sized objects, we have these mutated nurses with monkey faces. I gotta say, this hospital has a lot of fucking nurses. They take about 4 or 5 shots to kill, and they either just fall to the ground dead or suddenly crystallize and shatter to pieces. I have no idea what triggers this. It seems to be completely random. Anyway, say goodbye to the monkey nurses because they will never show up again, nor will be acknowledged by our hero. We escape the hospital and arrive in the city, and this is where the game opens up a lot. Our enemies from here on out are the promised realistically modeled gorillas. Yeah, they look great, don't they? And also these weird goblin, lizard, demon things? I don't know. I also found a weird glitch where if you hug the certain sides of certain buildings, you can just shoot straight up like you're Spider-Man. Oh, and before I forget, the city is too goddamn big, and your sub-leisurely walk speed makes this much longer than it has any right to be. And with these crystals being spread out so far, it can take up to an hour's worth of gameplay to find them. There is a pickup that's supposed to help. These goggles. See, I say supposed to help because
the goggles do nothing.
What's supposed to happen is they mark items on your HUD, but for me, all it does is just make the screen very grainy. I've seen gameplay from other YouTubers where this works properly, like here from YouTuber Games with Johnny. See, it marks on his, but for some reason I couldn't get them to work on my end, and I have absolutely no clue how to fix this. I've tried different resolutions in game, that doesn't help. I've tried the graphics options, which do absolutely nothing from what I can tell. I've tried changing my monitor's resolution to no avail. Not even DG Voodoo could help me here. I'm stumped. And I've probably spent more time than any human being should be trying to fix this one specific issue for fucking Dark Apes. Looks like I'm going up shit creek without a paddle, folks. So I crisscrossed every single building in this goddamn map and finally got all the crystals and finished this godforsaken level. Our hero remarks that the apes were once human and brings his lady companion, who, by the way, we are never told the name of, to the one place that can fix this. A museum.
Of course!
This is actually the easiest level in the game in terms of layout. It's just a bunch of copy-pasted hallways and all the crystals are easily accessible, except it's also the hardest because the game absolutely swarms you with enemies. It's all very close quarters and you can very easily get trapped and killed. In fact, I'm not even sure this level is possible to beat without cheating, and thankfully there is a console command for God mode. It was literally the only console command I could find. I don't know if there's any more, but hey, I'll take it. Now, at least one of you might be wondering, hey Glass, how come you're using the pistol when you have a shotgun? See, here's the thing about that free choice of weapons blurb on the box. They're all the same weapon, just a different model and animation. How do I know this? Well, take a look at the shotgun. It doesn't actually fire multiple pellets as shotguns do. It's a single shot, just like the pistol. In fact, look. They all fire one single round with no spread whatsoever. Only the PPSH is different in that it's fully automatic instead of semi-auto. So, mechanically speaking, we have 3 pistols and a machine gun. What variety? I'd say they lied about having 4 different weapons, but I'd rather chalk this up to developer incompetence because even the ammo counters are scuffed. See, that's not 99 rounds I have on my pistol. No, that's 99 clips. And to be honest, the pistol's the best weapon you could use. It has lots of ammo, and its reload animation is just quick enough to not be a hindrance, because you can't cancel these. And with the shotgun, Johnny Boy absolutely insists on fully reloading as if it's from empty, and that could honestly get you killed. You can even reload with a full clip. I wouldn't recommend it. It just wastes ammo. Anyways, John finds a map to the islands mentioned on the box and brings his Jane Doe on a boat ride to them. He actually explains that the crystals are radioactive and everyone on the island started dropping dead, so they just kinda easily left. Then John suddenly fell unconscious, leading to the game's opening. Okay, so he doesn't have a virus in him, he's just massively irradiated. So if these islands are a hotbed for radioactivity, why in the love of fuck are you bringing her along? Are you trying to get her some radiation poisoning as well? Have fun getting cancer, random lady who literally did nothing. So the final level, we're on the islands and... Wait. Oh, so all of a sudden, the goggles work as intended? But only on this one specific section? What the actual fuck is wrong with this game? I'm losing my goddamn marbles. Anyways, this level is the most ambitious of the lot. It feels slightly more varied than the others, but that's not saying much. We have a jungle and a temple. It basically feels like a shitty bootleg of the 2005 King Kong game. You know, the one that was a tie-in to the remake by Peter Jackson and was one of the few movie tie-in games that doesn't suck. In fact, I bet that's how Dark Apes got started. They played the King Kong game, or maybe watched the movie, got inspired, and made this. Except nobody knew how to make games in any way, shape, or form. Also, I found this extremely weird bug where inside the temple you just randomly run into invisible walls and will stop dead in your tracks. I have no idea what this is supposed to be. Like, maybe this is rubble they forgot to put the models in for, but somehow the collision is still there? I have no idea, honestly. I've spent way too much time on this game. Probably more than the developers did, and I just want to get this over with. Oh, and there's one thing this level has that none of the others do. It has a boss fight. It's the same ape model you've been fighting already, except bigger and bullet spongier. Pretty much the least amount of effort they could have put in for a boss, and further compounds my theory that this was inspired by the King Kong remake. You don't even have to kill him, you can literally just run past him. So, after all this work, what glorious ending do we have for Dark Apes? Yeah, that's pretty fucking debatable after playing this. Now, you're free to disagree with me, and maybe my opinion is biased, but I think I've been pretty kind to the games I've covered so far. Hellbound was a very average, but ultimately acceptable boomer shooter. XCOM Enforcer was a pretty fun shoot-'em-up despite having nothing to do with its namesake franchise. Even the Code of Honor games had a weird charm to them. But when it comes to Dark Apes, The Fate of Devolution, yeah, I'm throwing my hands up here. I've got nothing positive to say here. This game is a disaster, and it's no wonder why Wolf Group only made 3 games. Despite only having 4 levels, it is an absolute chore to play, and I honestly wouldn't recommend it to anybody, even when it's completely free on my Abandonware. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go take a nap. I need one after playing this garbage.